Alright, welcome back guys to the Weebs Closet. My name is Nekko.
I'm Jake.
And right now we are right in front of the cinema for, what was the movie again?
Shang-Chi.
Legend of the Ten Rings.
Not Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi? I'm bad with names, bro. But nonetheless, we're here. Unfortunately, it's not streamable, so we're gonna have to go in, watch it, and then go ahead and tell you what we think. But what are our expectations on this movie?
I don't know. It's like an origin movie, so I honestly don't know anything about the character, but I know that there are a lot of interesting characters in the movie. Like I know in the trailer we saw Wong a little bit. The Abomination shows up. We get to see the real Mandarin.
I saw a monster in it, but I didn't know that was Abomination.
From the Hulk.
Really? That's cool.
And he kind of has a new design.
I mean, yeah, granted, the one that we had was from the old Hulk, so in reality, you can kind of recycle him with and say that it comes from somewhere else. Because the other one was kind of like, I don't know if it even was kind of like true to the story or whatever, but nonetheless, my expectation is that this is supposed to be what the Mandarin was supposed to be.
Yeah. So in Iron Man 3 we got the Mandarin, and then he ended up being just like an actor.
I really dislike that.
I think he might be in this movie, like as like, I don't know.
Like the actor or the actual Mandarin?
Both. So the guy that played the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, and then we're getting the real Mandarin.
For example, just in case my bad for the bad steadiness or whatever, we're in the car.
Yeah. But I'm excited to see the real Mandarin because he was hyped up super big time in Iron Man 3, and I remember watching the I can't remember what the cartoon was, but it was an Iron Man cartoon, and the Mandarin was really cool.
And the Mandarin in there was really insane. That's I think I know what cartoon you're talking about, and it's the same one that I watched. Because like again, the Mandarin was just so fucking overpowered. Like he looked so cool, and it was actual rings, not these ones look like they're like bracelets. So this one being bracelets, you can work around saying that this is not the same Mandarin, but the whole idea was that it was going to be rings. Hence why in the movie Iron Man 3, the Mandarin had plenty of rings.
Yeah, he did have rings. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
but these are the real rings in this universe.
Yeah.
Which it kind of makes sense because like in the trailers they're like going so crazy with them, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that, and I really like. I'm more excited for this movie than I was for Black Widow because we've seen Black Widow so many times and we kind of already know her story. It was kind of like just recapping her life in that movie. And this is a completely new character. I've heard nothing but like amazing things about this movie. Like it's one of the best origin story movies. So, hype.
Yeah, I'm excited. And now that you said that, I was thinking, so wait, like we haven't seen a Hawkeye movie, but honestly, I wouldn't want it at this point because it would just be Black Widow 2.0 male version.
We are getting the show, but it's not.
Wait, Hawkeye has a show?
Yeah, it's not an origin show. It's continuing after Endgame.
Really?
And it's actually gonna pick up after Black Widow.
Oh, but it's gonna be more Ronin than Black.
I think, Hawkeye. And I think, like his daughter or like Kate Bishop, who's like his apprentice, is going to be a main focus, and Black Widow's sister is going to be the antagonist, from what I understand. Yeah, that's
gonna be cool. I mean, I like the idea of him being Ronin because like we only got a little bit of him being Ronin at the was it a Endgame?
Yeah,
it was cool, but again, we only had one scene with him being like really savvy with the swords and whatnot. So I'm excited to see him doing that again if he does it. But if he stays as Hawkeye, I'm not gonna bat an eye and be angry about it because again, that was his whole original thing. But with that said, honestly guys, I'm just hella hyped for this episode, for this movie. So we'll see what he has in store for us.
Yep.
So let's go because we're kind of late.
Yep.
See ya. Alrighty guys, so we are finally back outside of the theater, doing it in the car. It's kind of weird because we have all eyes on us. All eyes on us.
Yeah, there are a lot of people walking around right now at like 20 minutes after the movie.
Yeah, dude, like, I have to say, okay, so let me start with what I think the rating is.
Oh, like on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, I think it was great, but I don't want to give it that top. I'll probably give it a 9.
I would give it. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like
a 9 out of 10.
Like I loved it.
It was
I don't
amazing.
think it wasn't perfect, but yeah, I think I went in with pretty high up there expectations.
You did?
And yeah, because I've just been hearing that doesn't feel like a Marvel movie, and that like it was actually pretty okay. Like I don't want to say too much, but when you see certain characters from the MCU, because in the trailer there's characters from the MCU.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit jarring because you're like, oh yeah, like this is part of the Marvel universe. Because you're watching the whole first like 30 minutes of the movie, and it's like this mystical world of like martial arts and like ancient.
It kind of threw me back to a little bit of a Mortal Kombat. Like it gave me a little bit of vibe at the beginning of Mortal Kombat. I kind of felt the same way, and then like it brings you back to like, oh wait, this is MCU right on.
Yeah, this is better than Mortal Kombat. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, should we go ahead and make it a spoiler? Like,
yeah, at this point, like we loved it. 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
it's the best Marvel. Like taking out like Avengers, I think this is the best Marvel movie in a long time.
Yeah, no, I have to say, like for a solo film of a hero and whatnot, it was a solid introduction. Like it gave you a lot of good background, and like it made you feel in love with the character pretty quick.
Oh yeah, I was like super. Okay, before we get into spoilers, I have to point out that I was like way emotionally invested, even from like the first 5 minutes with like the fight between the father and the mother. It's like this like mystical romantic like dance that they're doing, and it's like I was like tearing up, and Nekko's like, this is so goofy, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's so funny.
No, like, okay, so what I did mean on that part, it was like, it wasn't so goofy, it's more like,
yeah, I know, but
some movements and whatnot were like, it wasn't goofy. I think what I said, smitten is what I was trying to say, because it makes you feel for whatever the characters is going through in the moment. And again, this is extremely early on in the movie, so you're like, oh wow, like it's actually pretty interesting that they immediately make you feel in a certain way at the beginning of the movie with new characters.
The movie does a lot of showing and telling the rules, like show don't tell. But if you're doing an introduction, it's really hard not to give exposition to the audience.
Yeah.
But I think the flashbacks in this movie are top notch. Like I love what?
Oh no, keep going. I'll leave this for the spoiler side of things.
But no, I thought like the interesting stuff was in present day and in the past.
No, they were done really well. Again, the character's a new character. Seeing it, I'm a really impressionable person. And almost every single movie that I go to watch, I end up enjoying it, regardless of how bad it is. I mean, I love freaking Monster Hunter, and these people hate Monster Hunter.
I mean, did you love Monster Hunter, the movie?
I did like it a lot. Like, legitimately, I enjoyed it. There were a couple of things that I'm like, but point is, I did like that. I did like the Mortal Kombat one as well. I wasn't raving about it, but I will give it like a 6 or 7.
I'd say 6 is what I would give it as well, because I didn't hate it, but it wasn't something that I was raving about either.
But yeah, so the thing is that although that I'm impressionable, like I had to say that this one was really good. Again, the characters were crazy. The things that you see are crazy. Places that they go are pretty cool. And there's a lot of things in this movie. So if you haven't watched it by today, go and watch it, because it's insane. Like I had to say, like we haven't gone to the movies in a while.
Yeah.
So going back to the movies for this movie,
honestly, this might be my favorite movie of the year, which I don't think a Marvel movie's ever been my favorite movie of whatever year it came out. And even like Endgame, which I really, really loved. But as of right now, like this, The Green Knight, Inside. Oh,
right on. You did watch The Green Knight. I haven't gone to the movies in a while. You did watch that over there.
Oh, so good.
And then our next one is gonna be Spider-Man, man. So like I cannot wait. If this is the quality that they're bringing, I cannot wait.
Yeah. Oh, I had something else to say, but I can't remember, so we might as well just talk spoilers.
Alrighty, guys. So if you don't want spoilers, by all means, cut it right here. Because the next probably 20 minutes is gonna be straight up freaking spoilers left and right. So if that's the case for you guys, this was the Weebs Closet. Come back and watch the rest of the video once you watch the movie. Yeah. Alright. So spoilers, man. Alright, so dude, like you were talking about the transitions, and I died because of that one transition where they were just talking about like his backstory, and it was as a vegan or vegan.
Oh my god!
I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
The scene on the plane where he's explaining, because that's kind of, flight attendants are very intrusive in that kind of way.
I mean, they have to be.
Yeah, to where like sometimes you'll even be sleeping and they'll like tap your shoulder and be like, "Do you want a drink?" It's like, no, I'm sleeping. But No, that scene was really hilarious, and really the whole movie, besides like I'd say like the last 20 minutes, was really funny. Like the whole theater was just laughing,
giggling,
and enjoying it the whole entire time.
Yeah, for like I like it because Marvel has actually found a good happy medium between being serious and knowing when to throw their gags here and there. Because with movies like Thor and whatnot, they had a lot of problems until they managed to get Thor Ragnarok.
Even Ragnarok, like, as funny as it is, I feel like the comedy takes away from what's actually happening in the movie, where in this, like, the comedy was perfect where it was, and then when the movie needed to be dramatic, it was. Because in Thor, I never, like, got overwhelmed with emotion when anything tragic happened, because there would always be a joke like 5 minutes after they would flatten that.
like with Meeks.
Meek and Korg.
Yeah. But this is Meeks. He's dead. God damn it, Korg. Yeah, but like, so that's true. Ant-Man is another one that I did enjoy whenever it came out, because again, he had the comedy. He kind of knew how to work around it. But yeah, so this one does have that. I have to say, there was a last gag that this girl did at the end whenever she shot the arrow. I feel like that was, in their head, it sounded good. In paper, it didn't come across as funny. Like it was, you know, it got a giggle out, but it wasn't like, oh, that was hilarious.
Where she shot the dragon.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was supposed to be hilarious. I mean, she said like, oh shit, after she shot it, or after she shot the big monster. But the build up of that was kind of that she wanted to protect her friends, and so her shooting the arrow was like her most
like the most that she apported to the thing, like she rose to the table.
Really, what I liked about it is that Katie, kind of the character that we're talking about, didn't really do anything during the battle. She was just kind of there. Maybe she shot an arrow,
a couple or two to the guys.
It's because like in any other movie, she would have been like a badass. Like she would have gone from like, oh, just a regular common like car park
valet driver,
to like a badass in one day. But like this movie kind of takes it to where like, yeah, she trained realistic for a day, but that doesn't mean that she's an amazing archer.
If anything, it was more like she has innate ability, but it's not like she's amazing at it. She's still got to work on it, and she just so happened to throw probably her last arrow. I didn't even get to see the quiver, but and actually land it, which again, it was cool. I did like it and whatnot. It's just that like I feel like the way that it came across, it sounded more like it was supposed to be a joke, and it didn't go through with a joke. But at the same time, I can see it more of like, oh shit, I did that, you know, type of thing. So yeah, but other than that, I did like the beginning scene. It was pretty cool, introducing both him and her in the fucking bus.
The bus scene was crazy.
Was so good, and I did enjoy her because I like the little thing that they show you, her driving a badass car, and then all of a sudden she's trying to like freaking 60 seconds or like 16 seconds the truck. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, she was like the driver. Really, you could say that was her ability, was driving, because she did that pretty much the whole movie. Hence
why I was still confused as to why she ended up going with the bow at the end. But hey, like, to each their own, right? I thought she was gonna be doing something with the animals or whatever, you know, like a Beastmaster. That would be cool. But nonetheless, going back to the whole thing, I like the sister. I had the fact that the sister, she was kind of shown shunned from like training and whatever, and all of a sudden she said like, screw this, I'm gonna take it on my own hands. I like that.
The sister was a great character, actually. Because she had, all the characters had really good motivations. I'd say Shang is kind of like a, I don't want to say flat is not a bad thing to say, because they're flat and they're round characters, and flat characters can be good.
Yeah, but like he didn't have as many ups and downs as the rest of the people, so I can completely understand what you're saying.
I can't remember the father's name, but the Mandarin is like, holy crap. You get this like crazy introduction. I think that's honestly one of my favorite scenes in the movie, was the fight between him and the mom.
The war. The one. Okay.
And because like you're dealing with a guy that's like all brute force versus one that's like graceful and like she's one with nature. And Shang is kind of like a bridge between those two, which is why he's so powerful at the end, because he's using the 10 rings, but he's also like using bending the environment around him. And I was like, damn.
That was really good. Like, like I was afraid that at the beginning I thought that his power came from the pendant. Hence why I'm like, oh shoot, they took it away. Nah, he cannot fight. But then they showed that wasn't the case. It was just that's just a key to some sorts.
Yeah, just to find something really. But he held on to it because it was like sacred to him or whatever. But
I mean, it is something that your mom gives you, right? Yeah. So you want to keep it.
But the Mandarin, the scene where the flashback where Shang is watching his mother die, and then he comes back and there's that violent scene in that like poker game.
Yeah,
where
that was so
the Mandarin
bad.
just kills all these dudes in front of Shang, and it's like, I wasn't like, this guy's bad. I was like, yeah, you know.
You had it coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all these guys had it coming for what they did.
Poor kid, like he saw somebody's face get blown off right in front of his eyes.
Yeah.
And he has to just say, yeah, I'm gonna help you out. Like, what? You know, like.
But in that moment, like I didn't empathize with Shang. I empathized with the father because like we all have people in our life where if they died, we would wish that we had 10 rings to kill whoever did it.
I cannot argue that statement. It is true. Yeah, I didn't think of it as damn the father's just an asshole or whatever. I feel like to a certain extent he had a reason and like it was backed.
I didn't feel like he was the villain at all. He was just like, he was like trying to be the hero of his own story, you know.
Yeah,
and that's really what good villains are.
That's what I was telling you in the theaters. Like it sucks because he's doing all of this. He's doing it out of a place of love, and he doesn't realize that he's being used. Yeah. By whatever it was behind the thing. And it's like, oh, that was so good because I didn't hate the guy. Like I honestly, legitimately, I love the father. 100%. He was a pretty badass character.
Yeah, really badass character. And the scene where there was one where he was punching the scale wall down with the 5 rings, and then transferred all 10 for like a big punch, and I was like, that's good right there.
That was so sick. I saw it out like, oh my god, that's like it makes me think of like a power up punch.
Yeah. Wow. And that's what I really liked about the rings. And there was that scene where he's unfortunately getting his soul sucked out, and then he like transfers all 10 of them to his son, and it's like, and they change color. Yeah. I think do you have like a theory behind that? They don't explain it.
They don't explain it, but at the same time, I think it was more meant to be of like whoever wears it to a certain degree might change a different color. Because I was thinking of like probably it's to signify that like that blue is more of a tainted color, because if you think about it, the colors kind of represented the same colors as the beast that he was fighting. He had kind of like purplish bluish type of thing, and then whenever it was more like showing like he's no longer tainted, or like the person that's wearing it, it's not tainted. That's the way that I took it. But I liked it whenever like the father shot at it first whenever they were fighting, and he was able to catch it back and start using it.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking sick.
Also,
but what were you just thinking about it though after whatever
the colors?
Yeah.
Well, the father's like cold, which is blue, and then Shang is like
a warm person.
He's a warm, like orange type of person. So that's also kind of what I thought. I also thought that maybe like what kind of not what you fight with, but your emotional state in battle might determine the color of it.
Like a mood ring.
Yeah, 10 mood ring. I don't know, something like that. I don't know, but the last thing we could kind of wrap it up with this. The last thing that we were talking about the rings themselves is where do they come from? And you had a theory that...
Dude, so at the end, and this is post-credits, please stay. If you're still watching this for some fucking reason and you haven't watched it, stay for the end credits. There's 2. So wait for the end. Come on, it's Marvel now. But nonetheless, right before the movie started, they were just shooting at us with different trailers and whatnot, and one of them was the Eternals. And like looking at the Eternals and the way that they find the things that they use and whatnot, and then going back to the post-credit scene where they had Wong, they had Hulk and whatever sitting there and talking about the rings. The ring was sending a beacon, right? Yeah. And the beacon, could be something good, could be something bad. It might be just beaconing somebody bad, but at the same time, why would it be whenever the owner is good? So what my other theory was that probably because of how the design looks, makes me think of the Eternals, and that's probably was sending the beacon to like the Eternals to kind of come in.
Yeah, because the Eternals have been on Earth for thousands of years, as well as the rings.
Oh, right on. And yeah, Wong asked them how long did the rings were being used or whatever. The guy, I forgot the name already, Shang or Sean, he said that only 1,000 years. They said that looks way older than 1,000 years, which makes sense as to why it might be the Eternals, because they've been around for longer. So my theory is, although that I do not see an Eternal dying, but probably it was a tool of an Eternal, and the Eternal died, and hence why the father somehow later on the years found it in a coffin, because that's what they were saying. It was either bestowed by gods, or he may have found it in his grave,
in like a tomb or something like that. That would be crazy, because then that's what I was telling you, is that we could literally be seeing Shang in the Eternals like 2 months from now.
Yeah,
which would be really cool. Like, it's maybe they're a part of their mission is to look for their lost friend's weapon or something like that, and now there's this new character that has them, you know?
Yeah, and then he has to like kind of like show off that he can do it, like prove himself, and it's like, you know what, here you go, the Eternal seal.
Because they don't look like, they look like what you were saying, like one of the weapons that the Eternals was using. Angelina Jolie had this like weird crystal like spear looking thing that was forming around her.
Yeah,
like it did look like one of those weapons.
So it could be, I mean, and granted, all of you guys that have watched the or have read the comics and whatnot, you're probably slapping me in the face with this theory. But because I mean, everybody knows I don't like to read, so I don't know.
Books are for nerds.
No,
Could you imagine reading instead of going to see what we just saw?
Yeah, like, come on now. But no, like, the thing is, like, so it could be something entirely different, because if we are to believe that the Mandarin was only wearing actual rings and no those kinds of rings, then it will be slightly different and not from the Eternals. But at the same time, with so many multiverses existing, maybe the Eternals are different in some other universe.
Yeah. And
maybe the Mandarin is different in a different universe, whereas instead of rings, is the bracelets.
We haven't really talked about maybe some faults in the movie. The movie has a very lengthy first act, like to kind of get you in the world. I always see the first act as like getting you into the world, and then that moment where the movie slows down,
it's like right in the middle,
kind of the second act.
Yeah.
And the second act is short for a second act in any movie, but it's very slow compared to the finale and the beginning of the film. Yeah. Because the first like 45 minutes, almost to an hour of the movie is just like insane. Like really like crazy, just action. And when it's not action, I was like laughing my ass off, you know? Yeah. And then the finale, same thing. It's just like, it's 45 minutes of just crazy action. And then there's like
the middle where they have the Todoroki family dinner.
Yeah.
You know, whenever they're just trying to like, oh, join me.
And that was a little bit slow. And then people were complaining that the end is just like a big CGI battle. And it is, but
I have something to say, but keep going.
And they were like, oh, I just wish that they all felt like the battles in the middle and the beginning of the film. But the thing about those is that they also had CGI, you know? All of these fights have CGI.
I think the argument is that like it took away from Sean, and it took away from everybody else, and now it's just these two dragons fighting, and that's it. So I can see it, but honestly, I cannot expect this guy, that although that he's been training all his life to be an assassin, I cannot expect him to fight a gigantic dragon with just 10 rings that he just got.
Yeah.
Like, come on now. Like, and I do think that did bring it to the realistic, which actually I said this to you in the that makes it realistic, and I'm like, as realistic as he can be, because
he's fighting a giant dragon. But they did a good job with what they had, for sure. But my complaint wasn't that it like dissolves into a CGI fest. It's that the CGI wasn't always great. Yeah,
there were a couple of finicky, weird moments. The part that I really have to say that I didn't like about a couple of fights is the camera placements.
Okay.
The POVs made it a little bit hard to follow what was going on in the fight.
There's some pretty close-ups in the
so there were a couple of things that they were fighting, and then the movements, I don't remember exactly which parts there were, but there were parts where they were fighting, and all of a sudden, like, it kind of confused you as to what position the characters were. And then whenever they were flying, it's like, oh wait, so the guys were still on the floor, or you know. So it's like there were a couple of parts that threw me off.
We also saw this movie like 10 feet away from the screen because it was jam-packed.
You got a point. We were looking upwards, but regardless, so that's my only complaint about it. But it still didn't take away from the movie. It was still pretty good. Hell, like fucking 9. If the problem is I cannot tell you why I cannot give it a 10, but I just feel like 10 is extremely generous.
And I mean, I probably wouldn't ever just walk out of a movie and give it a 10 because I'm always gonna have something to say.
Yeah, but overall it's actually pretty freaking good. Like I haven't seen a movie of this caliber in a while, and I cannot wait.
I was about to say, according to some of our viewers, a 10 is just an okay score.
Yeah, and I'm sorry guys, but let's be honest, if you give something a 5 out of 10, you got 50% of people that really enjoy the movie and 50% of the people that really dislike the movie. That's what 5 out of 10 means. So I am sorry to say, like, you can come at me at that point, and come at me please, but 5 out of 10 is still middle of the road, and it's still good and bad at the same time. It depends on what side of the fence you are on. Now if it was a 4 or 3, that movie's trash.
Yeah, but it's a 9, so it's okay.
Yeah, this movie will definitely be up there, unless we're really bad critics, right? So
we're not.
But nonetheless, yeah, enjoyable, loved it. The character is extremely likable, so I cannot wait to see him in the next ones. And Awkwafina actually did a pretty good.
I love Awkwafina. Yeah,
she did a pretty good.
I love her in certain things. Again, I was telling you that I don't love her when she's just like the jokey sidekick. But if you haven't seen The Farewell, which came out, I believe, in 2019, super good. I think she was nominated Best Actress for that movie. I don't remember.
She seems like after that I searched her up, and it's actually like she seems to be doing pretty good in the acting.
Yeah, she's great.
Side. So definitely liked their performance. Liked all the characters; they were pretty good.
Yeah, the sister, the aunt, the mom. What we got to see of her, she only had a few lines.
Freaking Trevor, bro! Fucking the old Mandarin.
So the old Mandarin from Iron Man 3, like,
he's in here. It's fucking hilarious.
He didn't need to be there, but I wasn't mad that he was there. You know, I was like,
I loved it.
Yeah,
like
you know, it works.
I think it helped take away from the jokes from Awkwafina to somebody else, so she didn't look like the dorky one.
And honestly, I think this movie complements Iron Man 3 pretty well, because a lot of people give Iron Man 3 shit because it's like, oh, it wasn't the real Mandarin. Now you can watch this movie.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I'm still in the side of like, it sucks that the third Iron Man wasn't the real Mandarin, but at the same time, like, now that we have this movie, I actually have,
because the Mandarin is sort of like Iron Man's not main villain, but
one of these arch enemies.
And so for it to be not in an Iron Man movie, I could still see how people would be disappointed. But honestly, it was such a good introduction for Shang-Chi that.
And I do like now that since Iron Man is gone, there's nobody to turn the 10 rings good, so the only way to turn him good is by having the kid get in the rings. So that's actually a pretty nice touch, because again, the 10 rings, I do believe they become good at one point later on. But nonetheless, I'm not gonna keep you guys here with you being here for probably around 27 minutes, but I'll be honest, go watch it.
Yeah, it was great.
So this was the Weebs Closet. We'll see you in the next one.
See ya.
Hope you guys enjoyed another Weebs Closet reaction. A special thanks to our Patreons. We appreciate your extra support to keep this channel going. Be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to stay up to date with our latest videos. See you in the next one.